guys, welcome to another episode of the Positive Triad podcast. My name's Derek.
And I'm Dan.
And we are going to be your hosts today. Today we're going to talk a little bit about stress, the effects of stress, how it affects each of us, and the different ways it affects us. But also, we want to start every podcast with a positive story. So today, this positive story, I'm not even sure where it happened. I can't remember what part of the country it happened in, but as I was reading through different stories, I came across this one, and it actually jumped out at me. I really enjoyed it. So this story is about Shaquille O'Neal, and he happens to be one of my idols in life. He's a businessman, entrepreneur. But he's got a really huge heart. He's, I don't know if you've ever seen videos on him. There's a lot of, yeah. He likes to get out into the hood, the poverty-stricken areas, the neighborhoods where kids have a hard life, and he likes to make his appearance and help kids out. But anyways, this story, we'll make it quick. This story, he was at a shoe store, and he saw this kid crying. I don't remember how old the kid was. I don't know if it said, but I assume it was a little kid. He was crying, and Shaq goes up to him. He's like, "Hey, what's going on, my man?" And the kid's like, I got in trouble with my dad." And he's like, "Well, I want you to go apologize to your dad, give him a hug." And the kid's like, "All right, this 7-foot giant's telling me to go apologize." But but yeah, he went. He apologized, gave his dad a hug, and then Shaq said, that was good of you, but I want to buy you some shoes now. And the kid, it really touched the kid's heart. And he said he kind of portrayed that he would never forget that moment. But then he didn't just do that, Shaq, but he also took the time to watch the kid's basketball videos. Yeah, I guess the kid had some videos on his phone of him playing basketball. And so he spent time and actually watched all these videos of this kid playing basketball. So it was a cool story, and I don't know, not getting into anything political, but it seems like a lot of Hollywood people and a lot of famous people, basketball stars, to me it seems like a lot of them don't really take time out to do things like that. But Shaq always seems to be that type of guy. So
yeah. And that's like Keanu Reeves as well.
Oh man, he does a good one.
He's an
awesome guy.
Yeah, he's one that I really like.
Yeah, really humble. And I read or heard somewhere that he always takes the
subway.
The subway.
Yep. He takes the subway.
You got all this money, you can buy the nicest sports car ever, but
yeah. Well, he actually, sidetrack here just a little bit, but he was had his motorcycle parked along the side of the street. Some lady backed into it, and he's like, "Look, it's just a thing. It's
just a worldly possession.
It's just a thing. Don't worry about it." He's like, you don't have to pay for it, nothing, just, you're fine. Just,
yeah. And I love people like that. That just, we get too attached to our things, and I don't know. If I had a nice motorcycle and someone backed into it, I'd probably be a little upset. Naturally, that's probably a natural response.
But he took that stressful situation, because that lady, I bet, was just drowned in stress. And he's like, "Look, it's just a thing. Don't worry about it. Just go on about your day and just forget it ever."
It's like he's trained his mindset to not stress about those things. And that lady, I'm sure, was probably stressing out her mind.
Exactly.
Calmed her down.
Exactly. And so it's things like that that we deal with on a daily basis that, are stressful situations.
Yep. But
we can de-escalate that with just a little bit of positivity and just taking a breath and stepping back.
Yep. That's perfect. Well, I appreciate that. That was a perfect thought. And that kind of segues us into our podcast topic, stress. What is stress? I think we all kind of know what it is, but do we really know what it is?
Yeah, because it's our body's natural response to things that are out of the norm. Anxieties and stresses are kind of both working in one way or another in that response system. But stress is when you get overwhelmed with usually negatives or positives even. If
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, if it's overwhelming in general, it can cause those stresses.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you know that the U.S. actually has a 53% burnout rate in employees.
I believe that.
53% of everybody in the workforce experiences burnout in one point in time or another, and that's a stress.
Yep.
That's they're getting overwhelmed with everything, and they need to take a step back to keep that from happening. But yeah, that's I mean, it's mental and physical. It's the stresses can affect your nervous system. It can affect your immune system, and like, have you ever noticed when you're stressed out, you feel a lot more sick?
Yeah.
Like you just like your stomach doesn't set well.
I think a lot of people are starting to realize that it does affect your physical health. But I think a lot of people still don't know that. I'm stressed, but yeah, your body literally starts to not shut down in a way where it can kill you. Maybe it can, but
maybe but not.
Yeah.
Well, mentally,
yeah, exactly. But your immune system shuts down, and you start getting physically ill over time. So,
well, that, and then also when you're stressed out, you don't take as much pride in yourself either.
Yep.
You know, it's like you start almost getting depressed.
Exactly.
And I know that when I get stressed, I usually dress a little bit less nice and things, because I just kind of lose that.
And I think naturally when you're stressed, I don't know, a lot of people I've seen tend to eat unhealthy as well.
Yes.
So it's just a pattern and a vicious cycle of bad habits.
Exactly. So it's like, and everybody perceives it differently. Like you're saying, you know, some people will stress eat, some people will, you know, stress work out. That's the thing, is you can use it as a motivator, or you could use it as a demotivator.
Yeah.
If you take those stresses and, like, you're going to the gym, you know, when you go to the gym, that's where you get a lot of that negative energy out. You're cleansing yourself of that negative energy.
Exactly.
And it helps you build up that positive energy, and then you're back out and you feel a lot better after the gym, don't you?
Yep, exactly. What are some symptoms that you've experienced personally when you're stressed?
So mine, it's like when I get stressed, like I kind of close off and almost get short.
Yeah.
You know, it's like my whole attitude changes, just because I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know how to express it, how to get rid of it, and I start just flipping out over little things. Yeah. I know that that's not what you should do. I mean,
no,
but that's just how
your body and your mind reacts to it.
Exactly, and that's just how mine responds. And so but I'm working on overcoming a lot of that, and it's like that's what this right here is a great escape, because it's like we can talk about everything, and that helps just everything out. You know,
and it helps you be conscious of, you know, what's going to set you off, what's going to stress you. Yeah, it puts that all in front of your mind, I think.
I will say, like, so this last week, the last couple weeks since we actually started doing these videos, it's like I've noticed a shift.
Oh, I didn't know.
Because we're focusing more and more on the positivity than we were at the beginning. Because when we first started, we're like, you know, we want more positivity in the world. We want to make that. Right. And it's like the last 2 weeks, and it's like escalated last week, like crazy escalated. The people I've come into contact with, everything, it has changed.
Yeah. I was talking to my wife about that just tonight. I'm like, you know what? I really look forward to doing this podcast, because during the week we talk about and collaborate topics that we're going to do, and then it's on the front of my mind where we're studying and we're trying to actually
see more positive.
More positive. It's good.
Yeah. And that's exactly. I mean, so, and that all that more positivity is alleviating a lot of that stress, that day-to-day, stuff that you could just totally blow by and forget about.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's little things that no longer are affecting you in the same way that they were before.
Because do you think someone or anyone can avoid stress completely, or do you think it's always going to be, and it's just how they react to it?
Everybody is going to have stress. Yeah. There's no ascent, because you're going to have bills every day.
Yep.
Maybe not every day, but you're going to have bills every month.
Unless you're
Shaquille. Well, but even he has to.
That's true.
So it's like, just because they have a lot of wealth doesn't mean that, you know, they're without stress, because he's constantly, you know, has publishers getting with him, and he's got all these people trying to reach out.
That's a good point. I think poor people poor. So I think people that don't have a lot of money have stress. I think people that have a lot of money have probably equally as amount or more stress.
And it's just different stress.
Different stresses,
Because
exactly.
it's like when you're running a multi-billion-dollar company,
You're dealing with a lot.
exactly. You might have a lot more money, but you have different stresses that are probably a little bit more intense
Right.
than, I mean, I'm not downgrading one or the other, but
It's all perception, like you said. And it's,
exactly.
I mean, yeah, everyone's going to deal with a level of stress that is a lot to them, probably.
Exactly. And
Yep.
so everybody perceives it differently, but everybody has it.
Yeah. Can't run from it. Sorry. we don't have that magic formula.
But that can help you just kind of get through it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, because what's your way of kind of overcoming stress? We talked about the gym a little bit.
Yeah, no, for me, I was thinking about that the other day too when we were thinking about this topic, and I think my top 2 or 3 ways to deal with stress is going on walks, so / working out. Putting the headphones on, blasting music, and then just working out. And then another one is going for a drive alone. I love to hash it out with my wife, but first, to organize my thoughts, I just like to go for a drive. For me, it's alone, and organize my thoughts, think about things before I, like you said, snap at my wife or snap at my kid. And, those are my top ways. Is just
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I used to do the drives all the time. It's like whenever something happened, I'd get in the car and I'd go for a drive. Now Shanna, she didn't exactly appreciate that all the time.
Right.
But when we got back, I was a lot more level-headed and things were...
No, exactly. I told my wife, it's nothing against you, but this is my way of coping.
Yep, exactly. And it's just the little things like that. Like they might be upset in the moment, but then when you come back, then you can actually talk. Instead, because if you don't level yourself out, you're just gonna blow up even more, and it's gonna cause more hate and discontent, and then you don't want that. But
exactly.
So it's like, that was one of my things that I used to do all the time. I don't do it as much now, but
you're a professional.
No, it's just that I've gotten to the point now where it's like I don't let it build up as much, you know. And it's like if you just take care of the little things as they come at you, you're not going to get stressed.
Yeah.
If you keep pushing them off, then eventually it's going to bubble up, and you're going to have a huge bubble that's going to burst that you're going to have to deal with. And
so here's a question. This might be on our question list, but it just came to mind. So do you think it's healthy or unhealthy to confront those things head on, or is it better to avoid things that stress you?
So it depends on the stresses. If it's a stress that doesn't like directly affect you, totally bypass it. Yeah. Like don't even waste your time with it, because that's just going to cause you to stress more.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're focusing on.
Right.
If you're focused, now there's bigger stresses like how am I going to pay rent, or things like that. You can't none from that. And if you do, it's just going to push it off. It's going to push it off, and then it's going to be a big problem. And so you got to hit that head on.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, how am I going to do this?
Yep. Yeah. And I own a business, and I think you nailed it. There's a lot of things that you just can't avoid, like these situations where you deal with audits, or how am I going to make payroll this month? And so unfortunately you just have to dig your heels in and figure it out. Yeah,
exactly. And the thing is when you do that, the creative juices start flowing.
Exactly.
And then you come up with these new ideas that you're like, why didn't I think of that before?
Yep.
And then that helps down the road too, because you've then already confronted it, so you know how to take care of it and keep it from happening again.
Yeah. So stress can be a good thing. It can
be a motivator.
Yeah, it can be a motivator.
Exactly. It's just however you perceive it that changes that, because it's like, Shannon, one thing that stresses her out is going out in public.
Yeah.
She hates going, out public and to new places, because it just
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. It causes stress and anxiety. But me, I love going to new places.
Yeah.
I'm kind of an adventure seeker. So it's like, new places are
bring it on.
Exactly. And it almost builds me up, but then it tears her down. So it's like, we have to kind of find a medium.
I think a lot of people don't realize that something as simple as go out in public that is simple to me or you
Yep.
is a huge stress to someone like Shanna or, probably half of the world population. A lot of people get that social anxiety and, speaking in public, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and not just that, but I mean, because of COVID, it kind of it closed everything off and told people to don't go into public.
right.
So now when they started saying, okay, yeah, go back into public, people were like, they were, they were locked away for a year and a half,
Exactly.
So they're like, that created a social anxiety that nobody had before.
I think it's good. I think it's a good reminder for all of us is, different people have different stressors or different anxieties. And so we got to, be patient with people like, Shanna or someone that has a different stress than me or you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, Shanna, so she uses her stress as a motivator.
That's good.
Because she's gotten to the point now where it's like to be able to get through everything, she should use it to motivate her.
Yeah.
Instead of using it to keep her hampered and keep her tucked away. So she's using that now to kind of break through it because she knows that if she can break through it, she'll be able to work through it and be able to overcome the things that are stressing her out.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, there's so many different positive stressors out there. Like a new job, it's a good stress because you're like, oh, it's something new, but it's going to help you.
Yeah. It's stressful. No one like, I don't, well, I there's everyone hates the unknown. I would dare say. Most people hate the unknown. You just don't know what to expect. You don't know what's my first day on the job going to be like. You don't know. But like I said, if you, if you turn that into, I'm going to grow, I'm going to learn, it's definitely a positive thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, at first you don't realize that.
Well, not like learning in general is a positive stressor.
Yep.
Like if you go to college, or even in high school and in middle school, and going to school is stressful because you're going to have to do work, you're going to have to do homework, and you're like, but I'd rather go out, play with friends, go out and, go to the club, go, all these things. But that you need to do this too, because this is going to help you. I know when I was in school, friends was definitely a higher priority than school. But at the same time, it's like, you graduate and you're like, okay, so now I've got this experience behind me. I can go out into the world and then learn more.
Yep.
Because high school and middle school and everything is to set you up.
Yeah.
Just get you the basics to be able to learn.
Platform.
Yeah. Your foundation.
Foundation, that's a word.
And then from there you build your house, your life on top of that.
Yep. My wife, she, going back to something you said, I'm going to get you on this podcast eventually. So sorry, Mandy. But a reason she doesn't like to learn new things or to go on this podcast or whatever is it stresses her out and it makes her scared to try something new because she's worried about failure. I'm like, well, you don't know if you don't try it. So just try it. And then if you're not good at it, then keep going if you like it. But if she's not good at something right off the bat, she shuts it down. And I'm like, oh, I know you'd be so good at it. You just got to give it time.
And that's the thing is everything is learned.
Yeah, exactly.
Even how to manage your stress. It's all learned.
Yep.
Because it's like when you go out into public places, when Shanna goes out into public places, she's kind of reserved at first, but then she realized, like, because I'm outgoing, but after she'll see how I am out there and she'll be like, oh, maybe it's not as bad as, or, my body's making it seem like it's worse than it really is.
Right.
But, so she's able to help overcome that.
Right.
It just takes a little bit of time of actually being out there. Because when we first get in the car, she's like, oh, no, and stuff. But then by the time we get there, she's like, why was I so worried? Why was it
wasn't as bad as I thought?
Exactly. And she's like, and I actually enjoyed myself.
Right.
So it's just being able to work through that initial stress point, and then it'll be pretty, I don't want to say smooth sailing because it's not
still something
you're working through,
but
but
hard for her.
You'll always feel better after working through it than before.
Yep.
So, but like, what are the main causes of stress in business? What would you, because I know you touched a little bit on.
Yeah. Oh man, it's, Um, I think for me, it's just the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial life of, this month was an awesome month. Then the following month, man, this is a crappy scene. Why am I still in business? I'm going to shut it down. This is not worth my stress. But finances are always something, making sure your employees are paid, and every single month you pay yourself last if you have employees. If you're a single operation, then it's not as stressful in that sense. But dealing with customers, dealing with inventory, I mean, there's just so many. And I've learned to just take it one day at a time. I mean, you can't change a lot of those variables at once, but you just got to take it one day at a time.
Yeah. And that's kind of how you work through those stresses is just taking as it comes. And then you deal with that, and then you go to the next one.
You play, I mean, with that, and probably any type of area in your life where stress comes, you plan for something, but we all know that those plans usually don't go how you want it to go. But
Yeah. Well, that's like in marriage too. You've got finances, you have, people or
in-laws.
In-laws. We're not
going to touch that.
We're not going to touch that right now. But then you've got like how independent you are versus your spouse.
Yeah.
More about working together, especially so with me and my wife, we both were older when we got married. I wouldn't say super old because we're not super old. But
you weren't 19.
Yeah, we weren't fresh out of school.
Yeah.
We both waited, and then so we both had independence before we got married.
Yep.
So when we got married, it was a bit of an effort going from being two independent people being a team.
Yeah.
And it's like we're still working on a lot of that, but we're getting there.
Yep.
But the stress of that independence and wanting to just take care of it yourself versus working as a team, because working as a team is definitely going to lower your stresses a lot easier than trying to do it all yourself.
Yeah,
because you'll have two viewpoints.
Yep.
So and then like your household versus work rules. It's like if your wife stays home, is she going to be the one that does all the cleaning and all of that stuff? But then if you're out and doing all the work, making all the money, are you still expected to do some of that stuff when you get home? That sort of thing. Those are just standard stresses that people have in relationships.
Well, yeah, when with marriage, you're taking, like you said, you're taking two completely different people, whether you guys are super similar in some areas or not, but you're still two different people. You're putting them together under the same roof, and you're expected to live in harmony with each other, but you're going to have different ideas. You're going to have different thoughts. You come from different families. So there's going to be stress, regardless of how well you get along.
Exactly. Because each of you are going to have your own thoughts of how to approach a situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And so trying to find that happy medium. And the thing is it's like if you just make a decision without consulting the other one's going to feel unheard, and that's going to stress them out because they're like, why am I even in this relationship? And that's definitely not the road you want to go down.
Yeah.
So, because that's going to just build up more stresses. So, but yeah, so in marriage, those are the main stressors there. Now, you've also, the finances is, I feel, probably the biggest stressor in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because without money, it's like without having the income to be able to pay your bills, pay your car payments, all your insurances, your phone bill, all that stuff, it's like trying to figure out how to cover all that, and
adds a lot of stress.
It does.
Yeah.
I know as being an entrepreneur, you experience that.
Yeah.
And especially when you first started out, I can almost guarantee it's not cool.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it's not just the parents in the family; it's also the kids that experience stresses. Like,
I feel like kids are going through a lot of stress these days too, compared to like when we were growing up. Maybe not. Maybe it's different types of stress. I don't know.
Well, the thing is when we were kids, we didn't have, cell phones. We didn't have constant need to be online.
Yeah.
I had dial-up as a kid.
I was gonna say the internet around.
I had to wait for.
Yeah, the internet wasn't even worth it. We didn't want to wait that long.
Exactly. And then when you did get to the internet, you're like, oh, there's nothing here.
Yeah, what's that going on here?
Exactly. So it's like Well, so we didn't have that social media and everything, seeing what other people, because let's be honest, 90% of social media is people posting the best of their life.
It's fake. I tell everyone it's fake in a way where, yeah, you just see the best of everyone's life. No one posts about, oh, I just got in a fight with my husband today and this is what happened.
Yeah.
No,
And
it's a perfect world on social media.
and it's like, yeah. So you're looking at everybody else and you're like, oh, they have a better life than me. And that just puts you down and makes you stress out over the little things that you, for all you know, that same couple that, just got back from a 5-day cruise was fought the whole time.
Yep.
Because they didn't agree with something before they left and they were just giving each other the cold shoulder the whole time.
I know we're talking about teens, but real quick, I told my wife, or my wife told me one time, she's like, I'm deleting social media. I can't. I'm comparing myself with so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And she did. She deleted it for probably 6 months and just for that very reason. And it's, social media is, it can be damaging, but it can be very helpful as well.
Yeah. And I mean, it's helpful for us because we're able to help spread this positivity.
Yep, we're trying to,
and
exactly.
Our tribe is growing.
Yep.
It is growing and we appreciate all of you for following.
Yep.
And because without you, us being here would be for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're helping us, we're helping you. And yeah, we appreciate it. You guys are awesome. But yeah, so it's like in school for kids, just the schoolwork, like we touched on earlier. And then when they start getting to the age where they want to go work to make money so they can, get extra stuff and things that their parents aren't going to just get for them. Unless you're really wealthy. No,
exactly.
I'm kidding. But yeah, and then like even just friendships and dating and things, it's like teens, I've been through it, you've been through it, we've all been through it. There's ups and downs to everything. They're all stressors. And then bullying.
Huge.
I mean, that is because it's not just in person, it is online too. And doesn't matter if you're playing video games with an online chat, it's like there's so many ways that people can be bullied nowadays. And when they're behind a screen, people can say whatever they want and not have any repercussions.
I again go back to our tribe. I was thinking about the positive tribe. We have a Facebook page group. I was thinking about that group just the other day. I'm like, it's so awesome. In our Facebook group, we don't talk about religion. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about all these things that people love to bully people about on other pages.
Yep.
It's just a place for people to congratulate or to, tell people, hey, you look awesome today. You did this awesome.
And
that's why, I mean, like you said, with bullying online, it happens on news pages, on car pages, on yard sale pages. Everyone likes to bully people, and it's sad, but
so. And it's like it could be something that's not even relevant to
exactly.
a time. And I'll just come out and be like, oh, it's because you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, so that's why.
It's like, I'm like, what did that have to do with anything?
Exactly. It's all like, this is a story about a cat that gets rescued from a tree.
And you brought politics into that?
Exactly. And it's like, okay, come on.
So anyways, if you're not part of that, our Facebook page, it's our group, it's awesome. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Bullying is a thing.
Yeah. And we will be talking about that down the road in later podcasts.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of things in the works for stuff. So definitely stay tuned for that. Now we can go on to, we already touched base on work and business stuff. Parenting even can cause stresses, like not just the couples, but just being a parent.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, your kids get sick. They stay up all night when they're sick. They need that attention, and then you lose sleep, and that causes stress.
Now you're groggy at work, and now you're just dragging.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then it's like you kind of lose yourself because you're so focused on your kids. You kind of forget what you are, who you are, and your interests. Like, I agree that, you should focus a little bit on your kids' interests so that you can actually stay in touch with them. And because if you don't, when they're older, you could lose them, things like that. And so it's like you kind of feel out of control at times.
Right.
And those are stress causers.
Yeah. And I've also noticed with parenting, at least in our relationship, sometimes I'm more harder on the kids and Mandy's not, or vice versa, depends on the situation. It causes like me and Mandy to sometimes get a little argument because like, why did you handle that way? Or if I say, well, I wouldn't handle that way, but Yeah, there's a lot of stress being a parent.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's like almost everything you do in life can cause stress.
Yeah.
Even driving down the street.
Yeah, it's true. Yep.
Somebody might just be cut out in front of you, and that's a stress causer.
Yep.
And you might be anticipating it, but you're like, oh, he's got to do that.
Yeah.
There's that stress right there.
Yeah.
But it's like the best ways to deal with stress, though. It's like, what are some of those? I know for my wife, she likes to journal and bake, go for walks, listen to music really loud. And not saying that's a bad thing, because I do it too. But it's like she'll turn up the stereo and just crank out in the living room and dance like nobody's watching. And then she'll look out the window and there'll be somebody watching, and she'll be like, but she'll laugh about it. It's like you can read a book. It's like maybe even just talking to someone that you haven't talked to in a while, just see how their life is.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that you can do to reduce stress. That it's like just got to do it.
Real quick, I think there's also, maybe this goes without saying, but I think there's also negative ways that people deal with stress that can cause unhealthy addictions, or and maybe I can't remember, we've probably already mentioned this, but eating unhealthy, drinking too much, smoking too much. I don't know. There's so many things that I know people use as an out to deal with stress, but it can spiral you out of control further. So that's just something to keep in mind too.
Drinking, smoking, drugs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those are negative out because they just send you down.
And it takes you out of that moment for a minute, but
it drags you into a deeper moment.
Yeah, it turns you into a deeper moment. That's good. Yep.
Whatever you enjoy doing, do that.
Yep.
That's whatever makes you happy.
Yep. Yeah. Find something fulfilling. You can start new hobbies, skills, whatever. You just find that healthy way to deal and cope with stress.
Yeah, and that'll help you get through everything. So, but that's kind of what we have for stresses.
Yep.
I hope you guys learn something.
Yeah. It's fun. It's life is full of stress. Like we talked about, you can't avoid it. But you just got to find a healthy way to deal with it. And if you guys haven't, like we mentioned, join our Facebook group, follow our Facebook page, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, because
and Spotify.
We're on everything, so we're gonna have more fun content coming out.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.
See you.